Woolly Story. Welcome to my cozy little corner of YouTube, where you can unwind and drift off to sleep while listening to some soothing bedtime stories. This is the perfect place for those who want to absorb new vocabulary while listening to bedtime stories before drifting off to sleep. So get comfy, relax, and let me help you drift off into dreamland. Jake had always been a bit of a wallflower, blending into the background and rarely standing out. But there was one person who he desperately wanted to acknowledge his existence: Emily, the most popular girl in school. He mustered up the courage to ask her out but was crushed when she rejected him. Determined to win her over, Jake began to research and experiment with ways to improve himself. One day, he stumbled upon an old book at a thrift store that promised to teach him ancient techniques for increasing his strength and agility. As he delved into the book, he discovered a series of exercises that promised to improve his hand-to-hand combat skills, as well as increase his strength and agility. He started practicing every day, focusing on improving his form and mastering the techniques. As he grew stronger, Jake began to see the benefits of his training in his everyday life. He found that he was able to run faster and jump higher than before, which helped him excel in his school's track and field team. Additionally, his hand-to-hand combat skills proved useful when he stood up to a school bully, earning him the respect of his peers. Despite his newfound confidence and abilities, Jake's ultimate goal was still to win over Emily. He hoped that his new skills and confidence would catch her eye. He worked tirelessly to impress her, even organizing a fundraiser for a local charity to show off his leadership skills. Despite all his efforts, Emily still seemed out of reach. Jake began to wonder if all of his training was for nothing. But he refused to give up, believing that if he could just show Emily how much he had changed, she would give him a chance. Jake's training became more intense as he pushed himself to the limit. He spent every free moment practicing and refining his techniques. His reputation at school grew as he became known for his fighting skills and athletic ability. Emily took notice of Jake's newfound confidence and skills. She watched as he effortlessly aced his classes, participated in sports, and even performed in the school's talent show. She couldn't deny that he had become someone worth noticing. With a newfound sense of self-assuredness, Jake finally mustered up the courage to ask Emily out again. She hesitated at first, but something about Jake's new energy and poise caught her attention. She agreed to go out with him, and the two went on a date that was unlike any other. Jake took Emily on an adventure, showcasing his newfound skills and bravery. They had a great time together, and Jake felt like he was finally winning her over. But as Jake continued to train and improve himself, he began to realize that he had been neglecting his relationships with his friends and family. He had become so focused on impressing Emily that he had forgotten about the people who had supported him all along. Despite this, Jake continued to push himself. He knew that if he could just keep improving, he could win Emily's heart for good. He trained harder than ever before, even incorporating meditation and visualization techniques from the book to help him focus. As Jake continued to impress Emily with his newfound skills and confidence, he began to see that there was more to life than just winning her over. He realized that his transformation had given him the courage to pursue his dreams and become the best version of himself. But he still hoped that Emily would see that he had changed for the better, and that they could have a future together. Jake's intense training and newfound skills were put to the ultimate test when a group of robbers invaded the school. They were armed and dangerous, and the students were terrified. Without a second thought, Jake sprang into action, using his fighting skills to take down the robbers one by one. Emily watched in amazement as he fought with a fierce determination that she had never seen before. He was like a superhero, taking on the bad guys and protecting the students. When the chaos finally subsided, Jake emerged as a hero. The school hailed him as a brave warrior who had saved them all. Even Emily was impressed, seeing firsthand how much Jake had changed. Jake realized that he didn't need Emily's approval to feel good about himself. He had become a better person, not just for her, but for himself. He had found a sense of purpose and fulfillment in his training and had used it to protect the people he cared about. Emily finally saw Jake for who he really was, and she was impressed by his bravery and selflessness. She realized that she had been wrong about him, and that she had misjudged him based on his shyness and lack of confidence. In the end, Jake and Emily started dating, but it was different this time. They were both changed people, and they respected each other for whom they had become. Jake continued to train and improve himself, but now he did it for himself, not for anyone else. He had found his own path and was proud of the person he had become. Years passed, and Jake continued to improve himself. He became a renowned martial artist, traveling the world and mastering new techniques. He started his own school, teaching others the skills he had learned and helping them find their own path to self-improvement. He had faced challenges and obstacles, but he had always emerged stronger and more united. Looking back on his journey, Jake realized that it wasn't about winning over Emily. It was about discovering his own potential and using it to make a difference in the world. He had found his purpose, and he was grateful for every step of his journey that had led him there. As he stood on a mountaintop overlooking the vast expanse of the world, he felt a sense of peace and contentment that he had never known before. He knew that his journey was far from over, but he was ready for whatever lay ahead. He set off on his next adventure, eager to see what the world had in store for him. He knew that whatever challenges he faced, he had the skills and determination to overcome them alone. Years continued to pass, and Jake's martial arts school had become a worldwide success. He had trained thousands of students, and his teachings had inspired countless others to pursue their dreams and reach their full potential. But as he looked back on his life, Jake realized that his greatest accomplishment wasn't his martial arts school or his victories in battles. It was the person he had become. He had started out as a shy, insecure boy, unsure of his place in the world. But through hard work, dedication, and the help of those who believed in him, he had become a confident, accomplished man, ready to face any challenge. And he knew that he owed it all to the girl who had once rejected him. Without Emily, he might never have found the courage to pursue his dreams and become the person he was today. He sat down to write her a letter, thanking her for everything she had done for him. He knew that he could never repay her for the gift she had given him, but he hoped that his words would convey his gratitude and appreciation. As he sealed the envelope and placed it in the mailbox, Jake felt a sense of peace and closure. He knew that he would always cherish the memories of his journey, and that he would never forget the people who had helped him along the way. And as he looked up at the sky, he felt a sense of hope and possibility. He knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, he had the strength, the skills, and the support he needed to overcome them. With a smile on his face, he set off on his next adventure, eager to see what the future had in store. Years turned into decades, and Jake continued to run his martial arts school, passing on his knowledge and skills to the next generation of students. He had aged gracefully, but he was still strong and vibrant, his eyes twinkling with the same energy and enthusiasm that had driven him as a young man. As he watched his students train and grow, he felt a sense of satisfaction and fulfillment. He knew that he had made a difference in the world, and that his legacy would live on long after he was gone. But there was one student who stood out from the rest, a young boy named Timmy. He was quiet and shy, much like Jake had been when he was younger. But he had a fierce determination and a hunger for knowledge that reminded Jake of himself. Jake took Timmy under his wing, teaching him everything he knew about martial arts and life. And as he watched Timmy grow and thrive, he felt a sense of pride and joy that he had never known before. Timmy became like a son to Jake, and he knew that one day, Timmy would carry on his legacy and pass on his teachings to future generations. And he knew that the world would be a better place for it. As Jake looked out at the horizon, watching the sun set on his long and fulfilling life, he felt a sense of peace and contentment. He knew that he had accomplished everything he had set out to do, and that he had left the world a better place than he had found it. And as he closed his eyes for the last time, he knew that his legacy would live on, carried forward by the countless students he had trained and inspired, and by the love and gratitude of the people whose lives he had touched. And that's it for tonight's story. I hope it made you feel all warm and cozy. Join me again tomorrow for another bedtime story. Good night. Sweet dreams.